times like these when the fish get on really small bugs, and at the moment they're eating a very small mayfly that's about a size 18 or 20. The thing about using flies that small is the hooks tend to be really light in gauge, and if the fish are of a reasonable size, you also run the risk of straightening the hook out. But Gamakatsu produce some very small fly hooks down to about size 22, and I've got one of those here at the moment, and I've tied a very small, just a nondescript spinner pattern on it because we do have what's left of the spinner fall from the morning's hatch, and obviously they're being blown about by this wind and hitting the deck. And just ahead of me here I've got a trout just doing a mop up, and this little spinner pattern here tied on one of those little Gamakatsu hooks is what I'm going to throw at him. The thing I like about these tiny little hooks is the type of steel that they've used. Really high grade, high carbon steel hook, and they are so incredibly strong, but still the gauge is light enough so that they're not physically heavy and they don't sink the tiny little fly. I can see him rising. It's all too much. I'm going to leave you right here and go and see if I can't get him on for you. How it's done. Alright, there you can see this is the size 18 hook, and yet, I mean, I had to pull pretty hard then. I upgraded my tippet to 3 pound instead of 2. I've got the TX LF Sage 000 weight, which is the perfect rod for this type of fish and this type of fly, and I put a fair bit of pressure down on that little hook. And although it's only a small fish, they still can exert a reasonable amount of pressure down. My hook's just popped out of him there. You can see there. I only just caught him, just nicked him on a piece of skin on the outside of his mouth. But yeah, tiny little brown trout. We'll get him back in his way. Here you go, fella. There he goes. All right, come back to the vise and I'll show you how these little hooks work and what you can tie on them. Alright, ready to go now. I did tell you a massive lie before. I said it was an 18, it was actually a 20. There you go. But it is the Gamakatsu S13SM. That's the type of hook. Obviously it says midge there, so it's indicating that it is a small light gauged hook. I'll just rip one of those out. They come inside a little plastic packet inside this little box here. They don't come loose like that, so I'll just place that guy in there like that. Looks pretty good to me. I'll just get some thread on the back of that as well. Now obviously you can use one of a few different types of thread. I'm still just going to use normal 6/0 uni. You could use a spider web or a GSP style thread or any one of the other, like even an 18/0, but I'm just going to stick with 6/0 black because I don't know, because it works on this size of hook reasonably well still. Ooh, there's a little packet that the hooks come in. That's in the bin. Actually, no, I'll keep that. This little crispy sort of plastic makes good spinner wings, larger spinners, little uprights. I might tie you a fly with that one day. Yeah, there it is. Just to tail. Some tail filaments from a large feather from the back of your cape. I'm just going to grab some of those from about there somewhere. Oh, I don't need that many. I want about 10 or thereabouts. So I've got about that many there. For the purpose of this fly and for also the purpose of not knocking the fly or the hook out of the fish's mouth, I'm going to shorten it up. So it's not going to be exactly natural, but we are just looking for a representation more than anything else. So there's a little hackle filaments on there. Alright, now if you ever wanted to know what to do with the tops of your pheasant tails, you know, this bit here. I mean, they're great for wing cases and all that sort of stuff, but eventually you run out of things to use them for, because you only use the bottom end for nymph tails and dry fly or mayfly tails and stuff, but the top bit can be sometimes a drama to work out what to do with it. Well, this is what you can do with it if you really want to. You can tie the body of this spinner out of it. So I've just clipped, I've clipped a full length of that off from the stalk, from the stem right out to the ends. Now this stuff does have a graduation of thickness from where it starts on the stem of the feather right through to the finer tips, and that's how we want to tie it in too. So just cut yourself that's pretty ratty, and it might actually also be a little bit brittle towards the end there. So I'll just cut it off 5 or 6 mils in, and then just build up a little bit of a thread body, not too much, but you want it to be, you know, you don't want to have a big step from your tail stub down to your body, because you will see that once you get to wrapping this around. So just excuse my fingers in front of the vise just quickly here. The thing I like about this particular type of body is that it's actually quite furry. So when it's siliconed up, it helps to push itself up off the water surface with these tiny little filaments that are in on the feather here. And just take the rest of that off as well. We're done with it now. Okay. Alright, just selecting badger hackle cape. This one, I think it's a silver or golden badger, something like that. It's a Metz grade. It's a grade smudge. Don't know what it is. It's like a 1 or a 2, something like that. But anyhow, obviously I'm way down the head end here, trying to find myself a hackle for a 20. That one looks pretty good. I don't mind them being a little bit longer than what you might think. A little bit longer is also okay, because I'm not putting many turns on. I'm only going to get, say, 2 turns out of this, because the front end of a spinner is pretty light on for both body and leg. They're pretty skinny, not much to look at really. It sometimes makes me wonder why the fish eat them. I suppose they're there in enough quantity, aren't they? So I'll just grab this little sucker here. Okay. Now I'm going to use just a little half-inch tool. It's on the back of the C&F picker and a dubbing brush, and on the back of that is just a little half-inch tool. I like the half-inch tool. It just makes life nice and easy, just to get your first little lockdown loop in there. And now I can let my thread loose and it's not going to pop off. So now I can get in there with a proper wet finishing tool and don't be scared that it's going to come away. Was it? Okay. Cut the thread off, and that was the fly that I used to catch that fish with. But I suppose there's a bit of a difference between this one exactly out of the vise here and the one, oh god, I've made a bit of a ham sandwich of that. Got glue all over one of those hackle fibers there. There we go, that's all done. Okay, the difference between this guy here and the one that I caught the fish on was that I got my nail nippers, my tippet or leader snips, and I snipped the bottom hackles off. I leave them on when I put him in my box, and I'll look at the conditions and the situation that I've got to fish this guy in, and then if it's nice, dead smooth water, really flat and really clear, then I'll snip the bottom off and make it flush so that the fly lands and sits right in the water like it would do if it was a spent spinner, which is what we had happening at around sort of 9 o'clock that morning. So yeah, there he is.